Hi friends, it's Becky and Happy New Year's! It is New Year's Eve here in the Northern Hemisphere of the American continents, and so I am getting ready to add a little bit of glam to my night by pulling out the All That Glitters bead kit from Softflex Company. And I wanted to take the twine, this glitzy twine, and I'm just going to make myself sort of a little beaded fringe focal using this adjustable ring and this glass bead from the bead strand, the gold bead strand from that. And I'm just going to do that and then make a little necklace with these. And I'm using some of these like dark gold or bronze faceted rondelles that came in the Bedoria bead mix. And basically I just took one end of this twine and put it through a large eye needle in order to string these beads on it. If you don't have one of these, you may be able to form the end of the twine with some glue or something to get a point to get it through there, but it's just easier for me to use this because these holes are large enough for that, and I want 10 of these strung on here. I put a little knot down here at the end of this twine to keep them from coming off. All right, so now that I've got that on there, let me take this off. I am definitely ready for a new year. I'm going to want about 10 of these, so let's cut this in half first. But I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. No, I want 5. I want 5 strands. Do I want 5? Maybe I need 20 of these. No, let's do it like this, and then let's do 5 strands. So let's do, let's see, if I've got 2 of these, how do I do 5? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that a good way to make sure I've got 5 segments? Maybe. Is that 1? And 2. No, because these are, so that's 1 segment, 2, 3, okay, so that's 4 still. Or maybe I'll just do random amounts so that they don't have to be even, do they? So if that's 4, how do you do 5? 10. If I can circle it around my fingers 10 times, and then I cut in half once. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Whoop. Like that, and then I can cut here. And that should get me 5 sections. Where are my scissors? I had scissors at one point. Ooh, but I need them to all be on their own sections, so. Okay, wait, but if it's just over one of them like that, then that's a section. Once again, where are my scissors? I know I had scissors here at one point. let's use these because they might not cut as cleanly, but they will still cut. All right. Now that I've got that cut there, so yeah, if I fit it around there, like whatever fits around there twice, or around the whole way, that's going to be about the right size, I think. I'm just going to do a little knot here on this untied end. I've already got a knot on that one. And then, because I want to make sure that the bead doesn't slip off of a tiny knot, I'm going to do another knot right over the first one. I'm going to do that by making sure that this knot stays centered inside of this knot. There you go. So now I've got a little loop like this with 2 beads on the end. All right, let's do a double knot on this end. 1, 2. So they're not going to be exactly the same length, and that's going to be okay with me. But I do want to make sure that I have enough this twine for the whole thing, because we're just going to be attaching this fringe to the rings on that ring form. Just make sure that that goes the right place. Oop, there we go. Alright. So I have several of these, and the way that this will work is we'll just get a little piece of wire here. I'm just going to bend that wire over like this. And I could just use the wide-eyed needle again, but I don't really feel like opening and closing it or trying to worry about how to string it with beads on here. So I'm just going to make a little hook with this wire, and it'll go through that loop, hook onto here, because I want an entire loop of this to come through. I'll make sure both ends of this wire go through here, so that I've got this loop coming out of the ring, and I'm going to put both of the beads through that loop to make a lark's head knot right there. So let's do the next one, and then we'll cut the others. That way I can just add them as I make them. So this is going to go this way. Get that loop in the hook. Put the hook back through the hole. Unstrand the loop, the hook, and then both bead ends through. Then we can pull it. I've got another little lark's head knot. actually, alright, so I just need 3 more of these on here. So let's do a double knot. This end. And 2 beads. 2 beads or not 2 beads, right? I'll do another snap, snap. And another double knot. These double knots, in addition to keeping the beads on, should also keep this from fraying too much. I don't mind the little ends fraying a little bit as it's worn, but the knots will stop it from fraying more. And back through that loop, back through the hole. I could probably just go through, I don't know why I have to go through one way and then back out the other when I could just hook this on and then take the whole thing and go through like this. Yeah, that works just as well, and it's a little less fiddly. And put both beads through that loop. Come on, friend. There we go. Okay, so maybe these next 2 I can do a little bit shorter than this one, so that we have a little more of a waterfall-y sort of situation happening. This is fun. Alright. Should probably have cut and measured first, but you know what? I'm just winging it, and sometimes you just gotta do that. Actually, let's cut all of that off altogether because it's just not working for me. But yeah, that is something that I was planning on doing this coming year, just for the month of January at least, is that every new bead box or bead subscription or bundle or shipment or something that I get and that I open up with y'all, I'm going to do an on-the-fly design while I'm working on it, or while I open it, like sight unseen, figure it out as I go. I just want to challenge myself with that. And alright, so that's going to be about there, about that much. I just think it will be fun. To do that. So it's getting a little bit of practice in on a little on the fly. It was just one of those things that I opened up the box and the idea just came to me. It didn't come to me while I was unboxing and organizing it. It was just now when I was sitting down with my camera and I said, hey, why don't I try doing this instead? Alright, which one of these is that going to be most like? It's going to be over there. So let's get a loop through. Sometimes this twine is just one of the best additions to these bead boxes. second bead through the loop. There we go. It's a little bit like fireworks streamers, you know? Baby, you're a firework. Yeah, that's what that is. This is gonna be my little firework pendant. I'm happy about that right now. I like that it's working out the way I hoped it would. It's making me pretty happy. Alright, and this one needs to be just a little teensy bit shorter. Let me get this second knot on here around that first one. My 2 beads, and then I'm going to compare this length here, right there. Alright, so I could probably have done 2 more, but I'm just going to set that aside for now and tie a knot in this end, and then get that loop through and tied on to my ring. And if I want to, I could probably put a little dollop of glue onto these knots as well, but the knot should hold just fine. Okay. I'm just going through the loop to grasp the end of this, just because it's being a little bit difficult for me to grasp, but tweezers are very helpful when you're doing knots. There we go. And let's get that on there. This is just a piece of scrap wire that I had laying around. I think this is some 24 gauge wire that I just bent sort of in half. Oh, and part of it is going on the outside of that loop instead of through the loop. And that's why it wasn't going all the way through. Alright, so I've got my little loop there. Got my 2 strands of beads. Get those beads through the loop. Alright. There we go. And now, let's get one of these guys on here. Should we put a bead cap on? Maybe. Maybe we should, to fancy this up a little bit more. Hold on, because I'm going to take these bead caps and I'm just going to bend them out a little bit so that they fit on the wider bead a little bit better, like this. Go. So that one, let's do the same thing with this one. When you're bending these bead caps, be gentle because it's very soft wire or soft metal. But the soft metal also tends to break easily if you overbend it, if you bend it back and forth too much. So just be gentle with it. So now I've got those 2 made into kind of bigger bead caps. Let's add a little more sparkle on either end of this focal. And I'm going to grab some 22 gauge wire. And this doesn't need to be a lot of wire, but let's go ahead and cut off about maybe 5 inches of wire. That's about right. And hold on, let me double check that I can fit 2 of these through one of these beads, because if not, this is going to change the way I do this. So I can fit 2 through here, no problem. All right. So these are just going to be part of the necklace then. Can I fit it through? Yes, I can. All right, so these guys are going to be part of, these larger bicones are going to be part of the focal. So I'm going to make a loop right in the center of this. I'm just going to bend it by bringing both of the ends together. That's going to help me find the center better. It's that bendy part right there. I'm going to hold it with my round nose pliers. Just bring the wires on either side of that, like that. And then while it's on here, I'm just going to use my fingers and rotate this once and then twice. And that's going to make my bail. And I'm going to take the wire and bend it back down together like that. I'm going to put on one bicone, one of these bead caps that I just expanded, and I'm going to make it so that the pointier end of the bead cap is towards the bicone and the open end is towards this bead that I'm about to add on here. And this bead was one of the beads from the bead strand. Probably, I don't know if the bead caps came in there too, so that it sits on there like that. And then let's take our second bead cap, put it through both of those. And then our last bicone here. All right. And if I've got my loop facing towards me, what kind of stringing am I going to do? Am I going to do stringing, or am I going to do wire wrapped links? Let's string. Okay, we're going to string. So I'm going to use this, and that means that I'm going to want this to be facing this way when I'm looking at it, which means if I see the circle, I'm going to use my fingers and bend one of these wires this way. Then I'm going to bend the other wire the opposite direction, like that. And I'm going to start a little loop there. And I'm going to start another little loop on the other side, like that. And then get this right here in between them. This is going to be a little fiddly. That's okay, because I want to wrap around the adjustable part with this wire, which means I am going to need to go grab a pair of pliers to help me with this. I've got some right here. I'm going to pinch these together, or pull these round parts right here, and shift this until it is at the right part to go all the way around. Now, this wire we're going to curve all the way around and through. And then, whoop, looks like this shifted while I was doing that. I'm going to want this one to go all the way around and through as well. I need to open this up a little bit more so that I can get it on here. It shifted away from that part that I wanted it to be. I wanted it to hold those. I moved it to the right place. Oop. Now that it's in that right place, let's bring that around again. And then, oop, did it move again? This is very awkward. I don't want to open and close the wire too much because that will weaken it. But I do want to make sure that I'm wrapping in the right place. Okay. All right, I have both of those right there. Let's bring this around again, and this around there. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna smush my wires flat on top of there to help hold them into place. Alright, and now I'm going to give it a snip and a tuck. Like that. And a tuck. There we go. So that's my focal. That's the most fiddliest part that I've got here. Alright, let's get some beads strung on here. I'm definitely going to be using some of these bugles to get me more length. But I'm also going to grab some of these 11-0 seed beads. Now this came in like a totally other kit, so it's just been in my stash. That's the nice thing about buying kits sometimes is if you don't use all of it for the project that it came for, you can put it in your stash and use it for something else. And so I've got these gold and silver 11-0s just right here that I can call on to add as spacers for this project. And then we're also going to add more of these beads as I string them on. Okay. So this is my New Year's Eve fireworks necklace. Let's get our beading wire out. I'm going to be using the white quartz that came in the kit. And I think I'm going to string one side first, just so I can figure out my my stringing pattern. And then I'll string the other side if I like it. That way I can, since I'm just making it up as I go, we can do this. So let's get 1, 2, So I want 3 of the bugles just for the center part of my necklace, and that's going to be where this is strung on. The bugles will be kind of holding this little loop that I made on in place. And then I'm just going to be using the bugles and seed beads, and I'm just pulling the gold seed beads as little separators between these sort of more darker gold, bronzy, I don't know what color they are, beads that we've got in the All That Glitters kit. Like this. So, spacer, and I want to make sure that whatever I add on one side, I'm going to be adding on another. So when I add them on this side, also do it on that side. We've got plenty of bugles. I don't need to double check those, but I want to make sure that these beads I've got plenty of for the rest of it. So one more of these, and then this bugle, this, and let's do one of the bicones. Okay, so I've got that bicone. So far, so good. And another one of these guys. There's 2 more bicones in here and several more of these that I can pull from if I need to on this necklace. Now, I'm very lucky that my dogs sleep through fireworks. My brother's dog did not, and she would start acting like the world was coming to an end. Fly, you fools. You know, that sort of thing. And then she started losing her hearing, and she would sleep through the night on New Year's and on 4th of July. And it was like one of those like blessings in disguise sort of situations where thankfully she just couldn't hear it, so it wasn't scary anymore, which was great. Great for her. But again, my dogs will sleep through all of this, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've got 2 of those. And I think, how many of the bicones do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's do another one of these here after this one. But we still don't really go out to do fireworks at my house because I have a neighbor who, I don't know what they do for a living, but somehow they are able to afford like almost an entire fireworks show's worth of fireworks, and they explode them right on the next street over, and I can see everything from my living room window. So all we have to do is open up the living room window, turn off the lights, sit there with some popcorn, and watch a show. It's fantastic. But it does go on all night when they do that. It absolutely goes on all night. I think the best fireworks display that I ever saw was when I was living in Malaysia, and we happened to be there for the Malaysian National Day. It was pretty soon after we got there, and we were living in these apartments across the street from KLCC Park, which is where the Petronas building is. That's where the KLCC Mall is and all of that. So they would usually have fireworks right there. And we were on, I think, the 40th floor. So the rockets were shooting up into the air and exploding right in front of our windows. And so we put little earplugs in our kids' ears. They were babies at the time. And turned off our lights and sat there in front of the windows, and they rattled when the fireworks went off, but the kids with their ears all plugged up, just sat there watching the fireworks going off in front of them like it was the most amazing thing. They had no idea that it was just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then there's 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay. I had no idea that that's just not something that normally happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. 7, 8, 9, 10. This might end up being enough. I'll check the length in a little bit. But other than that, like, wow, spectacular one. I think there were also some fireworks over Trafalgar Square that I got to watch that were just fantastic. But if it's not one of those big fireworks shows, I really enjoy fireworks shows that you get like in a small town where everybody comes out to like the football field of the high school and sits on the bleachers, and there's a picnic, and you get to just to hang out with folks and watch some lights go off. Oop, I'm already hearing some. I'm just going to check the length real quick, see if it's a length that I like. And it is not quite yet, so I'm going to need a few more of these. Let's do 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. I am going to end up using all of these for this one necklace, which is totally fine because it's my glammy New Year's Eve necklace that I am going to wear tonight. Glammy. Ready for some glitz and glam. Don't know about you guys, but I want some sparkle. I want some glimmer. I'm ready for that in my life. Alright. Let's see if this is long enough for me so far. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and crimp this end to the lobster clasp. So I've got my 2x2 crimp tubes that came in the kit. These are my favorite crimps, y'all. The Softflex ones. They are seamless and smooth, thick walls. They are perfect in my magical crimpers, which is my favorite way of crimping. So let's just put this guy in here. Go through the loop on the lobster clasp, then go back through my crimp, and since this is just free flowing over here on this end, I don't need to make sure it's up against anything or the other way. I can just go ahead and grab this crimp, use my crimper to center it right in here. Make sure it's perfectly centered and then give it a smush. Presses down just the corners of this. Then when I turn it to another angle and give it another smush, another angle, make sure that it is centered each time you do that. And just keep giving it smushes at different angles. It smooths out all those corners and you end up with a pretty solid little ball of crimp that doesn't have any rough edges to scratch at your skin or anything like that. I like that about this. Alright, so now I'm going to need a length of wire that is equal to or just a little bit greater than that length of wire, so right here should be a good place for me to cut that. And I just want to string this in the same order that this one was strung, going in this direction. So I'm going to start with a seed bead because I don't have a seed bead on that end. And then a rondelle, another seed bead, and bugle, and a seed bead. Right, and then my first deviation is going to be one of these cylinders to match what we've got on the other side. And seed bead, bugle, seed bead, and then a rondelle. Seed bead, bugle, seed bead. Come on, bugle. What you doing? And then one of the bicones, like that. I'm just pulling this up into because I just like looking at this. It's fun and funky, and I'm really enjoying it as a design. So I just wanted to pull that into focus, into view, just this part right here, while I'm doing my thing. Sorry. So let's get this guy on here. So since it is New Year's Eve, I am going to pop over to Amy Campbell's channel. We might be, I don't know if we're going to be doing it onto my channel as well. We might. So if you see a live pop up from me, that's just going to be me visiting with Amy. I am probably not going to be making things. We're just going to be talking and chatting because it's fun to visit with friends. And so we'll probably be doing that to ring in the new year with my beauty friends together. It'd be great if you guys can join us. And if you are going to be out and about and busy, you could always pop in and watch the replay. That's one of the fun things about lives, is that usually you can catch up with a replay if you miss them. 2, 3, I need another bicone. Right. bugles. This is turning into a pretty fun little project. And look how glittery it is. Look how much sparkle I have just from that. That is so great. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that too many? Did I miss one? Did I miss one? Hold on. Or did I just put over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I do have enough. All right. Because this is not crimped, so I could change it if I needed to get these to match. Don't forget the seed bead, Becky. It's almost there. And then let's do a pair of earrings to go with it once I've got this all strung. Yeah. This is definitely the best kit to open right before New Year's Eve. Just having so much gold and silver and glittery things to play around with. I think this is the glitteriest, the glitziest kit that we've seen from Softflex for a while. And there's some really glittery, glitzy kits that we've seen. So this is really fun. All right, let me double check. Make sure that we are even. Steven. Ah, beautiful. All right. So now for this end, I'm just gonna make a loop with my wire to hook my lobster clasp onto by putting on my crimp, going back through my crimp, scooching that down next to the beads. And it doesn't need to be a huge loop, just big enough for my fingers to find when it is behind my neck. I'm just using my fingernail to give myself a little bit of space between my crimp and that seed bead so that when I crimp down, I am not going to be breaking that seed bead with my crimp. Again, make sure that everything is centered. Do your little twisty arounds. There we go. And I'm just going to cut off my excess. And there we go. We've got a little fireworks necklace to wear. And just grab some of these head pins right here. And a couple of these. Ooh, this one right here. That's what I'm going to be using. 2 of these. And one of these for each earring. Okay. So I'm going to grab my head pin. Start with the white bead first. Then go through this sparkly rondelle. Top it with one of these fire polish beads like that. And now I'm just going to make a loop up here at the top, bending over the top here. And do I want a simple loop? I think a simple loop will work just great with this. And I've got about 1/4 inch or 1 centimeter of wire from my bend. And I just measure against my finger for that. I just know how much that is. I'll take my round nose pliers and just roll that back up against itself to make a little loop for drop earrings that we can wear for New Year's. White rhinestonies. That just came right off the bottom of that. Are these holes too big for that? You know what, friends? I want to make sure that I'm not going to lose these beads. I think there's fairly decent sized holes on these head pins, so I'm just going to grab one of these 11-0s and put it down at the bottom of that. That's going to give me a look a lot like a ball head pin, which I actually love the look of. But it's also going to act as another thing keeping that rondelle from sliding off the end of that head pin. And I'm just going to do the same thing as I did before. We're going to make some loops, some simple loops. Let me do the other one while I've got my tools out. Here we go. Bloop and bloop. Let's roll this sucker up. And usually the reason that I do my own ear wires is because I have weird ears, and these ones will slide out because my ears are weird. Well, at least one of them is. The other one's fine. But I've got some earring backs here, so I'm just going to wear these ear wires. I don't have to go looking for my handmade ones or make some handmade ones. Because with an earring back, it's not going to slide out of my ears. So let's stick one of these silicone earring backs on here, and then pop that loop right on here and use my pliers to close that up. Sparkly. Simple earrings, that's okay. Sometimes you just really need some simple earrings, especially if you've got something funner and fancier going on with your necklace. Oh boy. We'll get this out and do a New Year's Day project too, or maybe just over the weekend, because there are so many other beads that I want to play around with in here. But I definitely wanted All That Glitters. In this case is gold, or at least gold plated. There we go. Ah, love it. Okay, so here is my necklace, and I will wear this tonight during the live with Amy if you want to get a better look at it, but I'll also be showing it off and how I wear it on my weekly wrap-up and chat that I do with y'all at the weekend. And then here are the earrings that I made from the Softflex All That Glitters kit. Now the Softflex bead kits are not subscriptions, but they do release a new one every the last Wednesday of each month, and then reveal the one that they released the previous month on that same day. So this is the one that they just revealed. There is another one for sale if this is sold out, but they also had extras of the bead mixes. There might still be some bead strands. I don't know what the inventory levels are looking at for that, but I will put a link to the Softflex site in my description below if you'd like to check it out and see if you can grab some of these bead mixes. Anyway, I hope you're having a fantastic New Year, Happy New Year, and may you have all of the best blessings follow you for this coming year. Happy beading. Bye for now.